So, for all of you that do not know, this is a letter that the president received on April 13th of 2020 this year, and it is from AE Global Solutions Incorporated, and this was again given to President Donald Trump. And it says, "Dear Mr. President, I am writing to you once again to warn you that the current solution of shutting down the world economy is far worse than the disease. My company developed a computer forecasting model that has picked every financial crash since 1987. All intelligence agencies are well aware of its existence. Our computer models has forecast wars on the political collapse of nations such as Russia in 1998. That forecast was even reported on by the London Financial Times prior to the event occurring. To be direct, our computer is showing that if the economy remains closed beyond May 1st, we are looking at a global economic decline that will not bottom out for at least 13 years until we reach 2032. There are people such as Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci who have been advocating an economic shutdown on newspapers and television shows around the world. I believe Gates is merely using this to further his theory on vaccines without any regard for economic destruction these policies have caused, and Fauci is compromised by Gates' donation to all the health organizations. The current rate of unemployment is outpacing the loss experienced during the Great Depression when it took 3 years to reach a rate of 25%. The economic closure is being used to exploit the people for political gain. It is hurting the poor the most, for they are losing jobs that will not return. It is hurting them the most. So Gates and Fauci have no respect for the economic damage and stress they have imposed upon the people, nor do they take any responsibility for the economic collapse they have instigated. The democratic operation to helping small businesses and their preference for handling out checks is idiotic. They will hand a person a fish to feed them for a single day and stand by gleefully as they destroy that person's ability to find employment. Not only are jobs being destroyed, but pensions. There is no consideration for the impact upon the states, and they will have to raise taxes as trying to issue more debt proves difficult in the midst of an economic collapse. Some see this as a deliberate move to force universal basic income in place of the employment to create a larger welfare state. Our computer has never wrongly forecasted any major economic trend. It is a reliable model and based upon capital flow movement, which is a proven result, unlike academic theories that have failed since Karl Marx to John Maynard Keynes. The negative interest rate policy of central banks has wiped out pensions and trapped the central banks of Japan and Europe. They have destroyed their bond markets. Their only main tool is to cancel the currency and to use this crisis to issue a new variety of debt in hopes of reviving their bond markets. The solution must also take into consideration that this is a political war. The very same people who have been advocating shutting down the economy are seeking socialism under the banner of climate change. These people are behind the demand to shut down the world economy by using the virus where the death toll is on par or less than the annual flu. I apologize. Excuse me. I urge you to issue an executive order suspending for the duration of the lockdown in any state as a permanent abatement. 1. All interest payments, both personal and business, on any loan, including credit cards. 2. Foreclosures. 3. Payments of any rents or mortgages. And 4. Payments of any taxes, state and local. This will send the lobbyists clamoring against those advocating this lockdown. Advocates like Bill Gates, who is now arguing that everyone should remain locked down for 18 months until he comes up with a vaccine, must be dealt with and not ignored. You must give the governors the incentive to look at this as this economic destruction in their own self-interest. The only remaining political weapon is money, and it is time to fight back. Let them all go into the Supreme Court to fight this out. The CDC, the NIH, the WHO accept private donations which must stop immediately. It is not the WHO is China-centric, but rather they are dominated by Bill Gates. The advice you are receiving is not independent, and you should replace your advisors with real independent sources. The U.S. National Library of Medicine warns that this lockdown is dangerous for the people, for it amounts to mental torture. So, in quotes, this period of anxiety and adjustment to the isolation routine lasts for from 1 to 3 weeks. Further isolation of 4 to 6 weeks leads to the feeling of dejection and increasing dependency, loss of initiative and spontaneous activity, lack of interest in personal appearance, immobility, and a vacant gaze. There are forces using this virus for ulterior motives and creating a global economic collapse. They are dangerously undermining the entire world financial system, which threatens the rise of war. Historically, war never emerges as long as everyone is fat and happy. Rome fell because it first was weakened internationally by corruption, which then encouraged the barbarians to storm the gates. The veil of civilization is being pulled back. Everything past generations have fought for is at risk. The economy expanded and life expectancy increased, all on the back of prosperity. That is now all being undone. Our fragile democracy and civilization itself rest in your hands. It will take someone with great courage to defeat these principles if we are to survive as a civilization, a society, and a nation. I implore that you take this action and recognize this as being used as a political weapon without any regard for the people themselves. Sincerely, Martin Armstrong. And this was CC'd to Thomas Phillipson, the Chief Economic Advisor, Stephen Mnuchin, the Secretary of Treasury, Jerome Powell, Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Mitch McConnell, the Senator, and Kevin McCarthy, Steve Scalise, House of Representatives. So as you can see this, here it is. All right, so I just wanted to get this out to you all. I'm sorry for my mess ups. I'm a little bit nervous with this whole thing, and been doing a lot of soul searching. And my husband and I, we know so many more things than we really even ever wanted to know in this lifetime. So listen, keep digging, spread the message, send this out to everybody that you can think of. We need to spread this message. We need to take this down. We need to open our country back up. It's up to our nation and for our global economy to get back on track. And this is the way to do it. So I love you all. Thank you. Please share.